Alrighty.
Because I have named this episode Not Real People Stories, because I got one for y'all.
Okay. I love
And
you.
we're,
I love you.
and,
It's not real people stories.
and we're live.
Yoo-hoo! Yay! I feel like I've done this before.
Yeah, deja vu for today, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all all right?
I'm doing fair to middling.
Yeah, we still alive.
That is, in fact, a thing.
Cool. I've had a extremely long day today that has run late. Like the second I got off with y'all earlier for the roundtable knocks,
Mm-hmm.
I fertilized my lawn, entertained my mom for 30 minutes before she decided to get back on the road and go back up to her house after doing a Steel Magnolias tour. So she stopped here after doing a Steel Magnolias tour down in Natchitoches. Then I took Emily to work. Emily found a cute dress. That's going to come into play here in a second. Had to go remove an old flower bed. I now have, I want y'all to know, oregano and mint are the most tenacious and pugnacious spices that exist. Because the bed that I had them planted in has been outlived by the oregano and the mint that are now planted at my house from it. So
Yeah,
I had to haul that off.
A friend of mine, in high school, his mom did had planted mint one year because she thought she would like it. She liked the smell, but she thought that she would enjoy having mint to use for cooking, and she honestly really didn't ultimately. So she kind of pulled up she pulled up all the plants apparently except one, and the next year they had triple what she had planted originally.
Mint does that. I've got I had a 6x4 raised bed built, and Scott wanted me to get rid of it, so I drug that off. But I filled several pots. I filled several pots with mint and oregano that had survived in that bed without being taken care of for almost a year. Any case, so I go over to my aunt's house where my Uncle Scott's staying, and he gives me a crisp, fresh $100 bill. And I go, hey, Emily's dress is less than $100, and their card machine's down. Let me just rush back to the mall real quick, and I'll go ahead and buy her that dress, and I can just hand them this cash. So we get back to the mall, store's getting ready to close. I asked, hey, is it this? And they go, yes. And I said, do y'all still price match? So now it's going to be like $48. Woo, right? Counterfeit bill.
What?
The $100 was a counterfeit bill. Now, luckily, this does not become a absolutely not real people story, and I had to deal with the cops. Luckily, the girl that was working at the counter at Torrid used to work at a gas station. She goes, this shit happens all the time, man. Like, they don't keep up with the hundreds as much as like 20s. And a lot of older if you get anything that looks like an old $100 bill, there is like 40% chance it's counterfeit. Like the gas station I worked at, contract workers would come in and they get paid cash under the table. They trying to break 100 and also get a pack of cigarettes. And I'm like, hey man, you're going to have to talk to your employer. This one's fake too. She said it was not unusual to get at least 1 to 2 fake $100 bills a day at the old Calhoun gas station she worked in. So then we pick up him, go back to my uncle because I'm like, hey, I'm going to give you back this 100 because it's counterfeit, or they told me it's counterfeit. I want you to make sure your other bills aren't like this. He has 3 other bills that all came straight from his bank that had the exact same misprint and numbers on it.
Wow.
So out of the 500 he took out of the bank, 300 was counterfeit. Like from the teller counterfeit.
That's wow.
They supposed to check them bills.
They're supposed to, but damned if they do, kind of
I mean,
situation. But
I
you
mean,
know,
very much a
t-
situation where that would be the pretty much the one place that I would suspect that I would be pretty positive that you wouldn't end up with a fake bill.
now I've also gotten a counterfeit 20 before from my bank. Uh, I caught that in the bank itself because you know the mark of the pen that they use to test if it's real or not.
Uh huh.
It had a mark on it proving that it was fake, and I'm like, hey, yo, and I got that replaced because they couldn't deny they had just handed it to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was today. And then I've also been consoling a 7-year-old because they handed us this big old box that said Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on the Happy Meal, and he got a Beyblade.
They got the boxes before they got the toys.
Yeah. Well, we've already gotten Sonic toys at the other McDonald's. I went to a different one because it's easier to get in and out of.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the not shitty McDonald's in Monroe. And so, yeah, we had to console Vincent because first world problem, but he's 7. So, um, first world problems are real problems to him. And at the same time, I'm like, man, that is kind of an insult. You got this dope Sonic the Hedgehog box that looks like the second game cartridge from back in the day. And you get a Beyblade. And it's like, I was like, hey, Vincent, hey, it's fine. Let's do this. So I hit the lever and it just poops out the end of it and just hits the table and spins a little bit and stops. And I go, yeah,
No,
this is not,
no, you're right.
no, you're right. I stand corrected. This is bullshit. I agree.
Hey, it's fine. It's fine. Look, click, thunk, spin, spin. No, no, you know your reaction was the correct one. I digress. I defer to you. I defer to your knowledge. That's you're fine.
So yeah, that's the not real people stories from me from this week.
You stepped in it, didn't you? Like you were taken out. I don't understand.
Did Harley step in poo?
No, and pee. The dog. Apparently, the dog peed because being outside at my parents' house for 4.5 hours did not didn't put her in a position that for her to use the bathroom. Apparently, because dog is special.
Dude, you showed me the X-ray of that dog's leg. That dog is special. That dog is a genetic anomaly.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, our new pupper, um, we were looking for a mild tempered, kind of like the mild tempered dog for for the girl. This is going to be the girl's dog, and that's what it was going to be. Stay shield, do not fall. Um, so wife, so wife goes, checks the pound, finds finds this dog who is very chill and very sweet. She is a pit mix and or potentially a pit mix, potentially a full pit. We don't know. We don't know for sure. We're whatever, but whatever. We don't care. So you might know better on this guy. Yeah. So we bring dog home. They tell us she was abandoned. She's about 2 years old. She's really mellow. She has an old hip injury that has healed. So we take that at face value and go, okay, cool. So we take her home, and as you do when you adopt a dog, next about a week later, we took her to our vet to get checked out and everything else. She had heartworms. She was on heartworm medication. Um, just getting her checked out to make sure that she is good. Doctor takes an X-ray. Doctor looks at X-ray. Doctor checks with nurse to find out why they had the X-rays mixed up. Nurse tells doctor X-rays are not mixed up. That is, in fact, Molly's X-ray. He comes in and shows wife a completely broken femur. Uh, her right rear femur is broken in half, separated completely, and there's a metallic object that is also in her leg. Essentially, what it looks like, I'm thinking it was a pellet rifle. She got shot with, hit the bone, broke it. Gave her uh, pain meds, sent her home. Said we'll keep an eye on her. If she shows any sign of distress, then bring her back in, and we'll talk about it, and then come back in a month, and 2 or 3 weeks, and we will see where she's at and discuss options depending on how it's healing. If it's healing fine, then it's fine. But we're more than likely looking at amputation because I mean it's the bone is broken completely. He then proceeded to take video of the dog walking fine with no issues and no wincing, no limping, no signs of pain at all, and then proceeded to text and email every vet friend that he had a picture of the X-ray, and then immediately thereafter send them the video of her walking. And the response that he got almost immediately was, "That can't be the same dog." Fast forward a month later. Fast forward like 6 hours later, and this dog is kinda hyper. Come to find out, she wasn't, and she is, but she's. If this dog is over 2 years old, I will give you my house. And she is very, very much a happy-go-lucky, bouncy, chewy puppy. The reason they thought that she was an older mellow dog was because she had a broken fucking femur. So she was living in constant pain. So the minute that the pain drugs kicked in, she was a new dog. Fast forward about 3 or 4 weeks later, we take her in. They take another set of X-rays, and the bone is healed, essentially, nearly completely healed. It has reset itself. It has started to grow. It started to knit itself back together. This dog is a walking anomaly because, like, the outcome of that visit should have been scheduling an amputation, but she's fine, and she has, now that we know, and the doc looked at her teeth. She has one of her canines is chipped, which is probably why the shelter thought she was older, because she's got noticeable wear on her teeth. This dog also will chew anything she gets her hands on, or her mouth on. I am currently wearing a brand spanking new set of JLab Pro gamer headphones. Mish has a brand new pair of JLab Pro wired headphones, and Harley has a brand new pair of JLab earbuds because she ate $75 worth of headphones the week after we got her. So she will chew anything that you leave down. So we are currently working through that. She's still got a lot of puppy in her, but she's getting better. She still does have her moments though. And that dog is when she is super intelligent when she's not stupid. But then again, she's a pity, and bullies bullies are smart when they're not stupid. So that is the
I
story of Super Molly.
I just heard my wife do the goblin laugh from another room.
You're in danger.
I am.
Yeah, I think the time has come. The time may be coming soon for retribution for all of the Africa me's.
See, you do this and you leave me to have to cash that check.
Once again, this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make, Hewitt.
You suck.
You find it hilarious.
Until I get shanked.
Yeah, but up until that point, it's hilarious. And we both know, all three of us know, that she's not gonna that she's gonna stab you somewhere meaty and nowhere near vital organs. She likes you too much.
Why you gotta make this like a Tim McGraw, like, domestic disturbance level story? That dude's got some not real people stories. If
Yeah.
the 6'8" walking trailer park disaster from my neck of the woods that's in country music.
I like Waylon Jennings' answer to confrontation. He's playing a show in the '70s. Some big old biker dude starts screaming out requests, and he ignored him completely. He finished the show. Waylon's walking backstage, and a big old biker walks up to him, says, "What stops? What would stop me from right here, right now, whipping your ass?" And Waylon looks at him without missing a beat and goes, "Sir, I have been in over 250 fights in my life. I have lost every single goddamn one of them. I'm due a win." And the biker looked him up and down, and turned around and walked the fuck away.
Boy. Do you got a not real people story canon to toss on top of all what we've done so far?
I wouldn't consider it a not real people story, but it's a not real how much they think they gonna get away with story. Uh, I ain't spoke to my brothers since August of last year. One of them out of the blue sent me a message. Wants to know if I'm willing to sell my mom's property. Said all we want to do is try to get enough money to pay the taxes and pay the estate lawyer fees. So I calmly replied, I'm willing to sell the property, but these are my terms, and they ain't answered me back yet. Basically, I told them I wasn't giving it away. They valued the land at a certain amount 2 years ago, and now they want to drop it down to 2 to 300ths of that.
No.
So I basically gave them two options and said, when y'all decide on one of those options and want to enact it, let me know, because I'm not signing anything without one of those options. And what really spiked them, or what really spiked the message, I think, is I started out with, this property is no longer part of an estate. It is owned equally by the four of us. So they basically don't have a leg to stand on right now.
Yeah, once it once her will was once her will was executed and it was promptly officially split up between the four of y'all, it is no longer a estate now. It is now owned property.
It is officially closed estate. I've got the paperwork on it, and the paperwork says who's going to pay for what, and basically says the executor is going to pay all the court fees. And I was not the executor.
Why does legal stuff have to keep popping up, especially with family?
I told Tracy it's not any skin off my back. I said I'm done with it. I've moved on. I'm happy.
Yeah.
I said whether it sells or not makes no never mind to me. If it don't sell, I'm out $200 a year for taxes.
But if it does sell, you'll be damned if you get less than what you owe.
Well, I don't know anything.
Or
No, I mean what
you
what's
are
due.
owed.
What's
Oh,
due
yeah.
to you.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I told them, I'm not giving it away. I assume they weren't happy about my answer because that's been 7th of April when I sent the message back. I ain't heard nothing back from none of them.
Yeah.
But it amounts to when it all started, I asked them to get an appraisal on the property, and I'd pay them fair market value for their shares of the property so I could keep it. And they agreed and said that they would do that in March of 20. And that didn't happen. They took executorship out from under me by lying to the judge, telling them that I refused to put the property in probate after they constantly asked me to wait. And I have proof of that. And now they're dissatisfied because they owe estate fees that they don't have money to pay. And they're expecting me to give my part of the property away.
I mean, maybe they should have thought about that maybe they should have thought they wouldn't have these fees if they'd have sold you the property.
Yeah.
But I mean but I mean that's just a novel idea.
Well, what it amounts to is they don't want to have it appraised because they know it's not going to appraise for what they thought it was valued at. And my first option is to have the property appraised like they said and pay me fair market value for my share of it. Or they can go with my original valuation on the land on what I offered them for their parts and they refused. And they can pay me that same amount on my portion of it, which is considerably less than what they thought it was worth. Probably considerably more than what it's going to appraise for. And there are two other options which I did not include in the proposal until I hear something back from them. And if they try to balk on me, then they've got two other options. They can pay a surveyor to come out and survey the land and subdivide it into 4 pieces and give me my piece and me be said and done with it. Or they can turn their pieces over to me and I will pay all the fees that are owed on the land. Which
Get 'em,
I
Cannon.
don't really do. What?
Get them, Cannon.
Hey, I'm not. I learned a long time ago. If they walk over you once, they think they're going to walk over you. And when I showed up with a lawyer at the estate hearing, they found out they couldn't walk on me. And I ain't going to let them start. And I ain't even mentioned the stuff they took off the property before probate was ended, which was illegal, even though it was the executor that did it. Because he damn sure didn't sell it. But that's my real people thinking people are stupid. It's not really a not real people story, but it's just part of life.
No,
Living.
All in all, the whole story of that is a not real people story, though.
Well, yeah, it could be.
Also, to the viewers at home, sorry the bitrate keeps changing on my Comcast is being an asshole on my end right now on internet, but we are recording it, so no matter what, it will be up on YouTube later.
Yeah. At least you got internet.
This is
I'm
true.
talking to you on my phone data.
Or you said your internet's been out since Friday?
Went out at 1500 Friday afternoon, and I called their tech services, got a recording, said you need to email us at support. So I emailed at support, and it said because it was after hours, not between 8 and 5 on Monday through Friday, it was after hours. It might be a little while before they get back to me. The guy got back to me, asked me to got back to me Saturday around noon, asked me to send him a picture of my SIM card that's in my router. After he got the picture, he said, I'll turn it over to technical services. It can be 24 to 48 hours before they get it settled.
Boy.
And I honestly think because the router paperwork that I read shows the router is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It shows the SIM card active, and it shows the blinking light on the net basically says that it's talking to the cell company that's providing the service. I think what it is this third party company I went through is somehow didn't register my router with them again this month. And the cell service just shut it down or shut the registration of my router down. And now they got to figure out what's going on. Because it's not the cell signal, because I'm talking to you on the same cell company right now.
Yeah.
But as soon as I get my 150-foot cable in, it's going to be bye-bye piss poor internet and hello Starlink.
It's 150 foot Ethernet or fiber.
No, 150-foot proprietary cable that goes from the dish to the router. They sent a 75-foot one with the system when I bought it. And I can make a 75-foot one work, but by the time it goes up my 50-foot tower, that only leaves me 25 feet, which means it's got to be within 18 foot of my shop. And that very drastically limits where I can put it.
Yeah.
So with 150-foot cable, that gives me 100 foot of cable to play with to get it into my shop after it goes up 50 foot on the antenna, on the pole. And it opens up possibilities of where I could put the antenna and it not be in the way.
Yeah.
And in order, either way it goes, I've still got about 5 trees I got to cut to make sure I got free clear space for my guy wires. Y'all still there?
Yep. Just listening, and the whole time I'm sitting there like, I'm, as much as I do want to move out to the woods or preferably where mountains exist, doing all that so I can still have internet would be a pain in the ass.
Well, let me tell you, the options out here were slim pickings. Starlink was my most viable option to be able to get any speed off the internet. And I was on a waiting list for them for almost a year. So in the meantime, I had to find this cell company or this third party company that uses cell phone signals like a hotspot to get me internet access while we were out here. And it's only working at max 8 kilobits per second.
And you don't.
When
AT&T's not on doesn't offer
nope,
the data, the
nope,
internet like that.
nope. I'm a
No.
mile and a quarter away from the place it has to come from. I've been tempted.
Yeah, but AT&T does have the it does offer the setup like you got where it a mobile data hotspot.
Oh, this company I'm with tried AT&T the first 2 months I had it. They shut me down for over usage, and it's supposed to be unlimited data on this service. They shut me down because I was using 400 gigs a month. So they refused, and then they had to change routers and change companies to another company to be able to get me service out here. But AT&T, I had uh, I had fast internet through Uverse before we
Mhm.
moved.
Yeah.
So I clicked on that. They didn't have that. That's not available out here. What I am tempted to do, I'm tempted to call AT&T up and say, hey, I want a house phone out here. So they have to run the wires.
Well, that will. Yes. However, speaking as a former technician for AT&T, I will tell you um, that being as far as you are from the place, unless something has changed, unless they've upgraded something somewhere along the lines, being that far out, then the only thing that you'd be able to get would be pot service, plain old telephone service, and that far out, you would probably be. I can't remember the rate reach chart off the top of my head, but you'd probably be close to if not the end of the line for the end of the line for DSL service. So
They don't
they
have
may,
they don't have DSL out here because I was gonna try to get a dual DLS out here so I could increase speed.
yeah.
They don't even have
Uh,
DLS out here.
Yeah. So if you did get a line out there, it would just be POTS, and POTS ain't gonna do nothing for your internet service.
Yep. Well, like I said, I've found Starlink. I've heard a lot of good things about it. Everybody I've talked to and everybody I've watched on YouTube that's hooked up to it, they go they get anywhere from 100 to 150 megabits a second or faster. Their upload speeds are only running in the 40 to 50 megabit per second, but
Right,
that's
it's
better
upload.
than that's better than 3 kilobits I'm getting here.
Yeah.
So I was I can I thought about setting the dish up temporarily because when you get a metal stand to set it on the ground to test it, to test locations, along with an app that comes with your phone that lets you see what obstructions might be in the way for where you've got to have it.
Mm-hmm.
With the 75-foot cable, I'd have to put the router outside for the only place I can set it on the ground to get reception. And had it been sitting on the ground to get reception after I got it, when these last two flash floods came through, I wouldn't have a dish anymore.
Yeah.
So it is still in the box. I have paid, I think I'm about to pay my second month usage, and I ain't even been able to fire it up. And I'm well over my 30-day window to send it back if something don't work right. So we will see what happens.
Well,
To
And
change. Sorry, go ahead, Cannon.
I was about to say they didn't really list the contents of the box that you would be receiving as far as cable links or anything like that. I did find out the old round dish came with a 100-foot cable, but the new rectangular dish only comes with a 75-foot cable. I didn't find this out until the box was already shipped coming in, so I had to order the cable separately, and I had to order the cable separately. I had to order the Ethernet port separately, and I had to order a adapter to fit on top of my pole separately. I've got everything but the cable already. Then I ordered the cable first. But when I get it in, I hope my internet is smoking. It's supposed to be faster than what I had through AT&T Uverse,
That'll be nice.
yeah.
like twice as fast as what I had through Uverse. I had a 50 megabit per second connection with Uverse.
Yeah.
But these companies have you over a barrel.
Pretty
Unfortunately.
much. Pretty much.
Oh, I could go rogue. I could find a station or something that had Wi-Fi somewhere around here, and I could use solar electricity and battery storage and things, and I could set up my own Gorilla Mesh network and basically connect through their Wi-Fi out to here and get back through. But I'm not going to spend all that money on that equipment to try to hide it in the woods to be able to get that signal.
To switch off of data companies, hopefully I can remember after this, and Emily will remember tomorrow. Our garden is starting to actually, the seeds are now starting to finally break surface.
Nice.
And we already have little tiny strawberries forming on the first set of strawberry plants we put in the ground. And 4 out of 7 cuttings from the blackberry bushes over at the other house survived transplant.
Nice.
So, yay gardening. Now I just got to get my rain barrels set back up, because thank God Washita Parish and Monroe do not decide that collecting rain is theft. Because that's bullshit.
They say collecting rain is theft.
No, Monroe doesn't, and Washita Parish doesn't, but there's several places I've seen, because when I put my first rain barrel up, the suggestions were make sure to check your municipality's rules about collecting water. And in some places, to collect rainwater and prevent it from going back into a runoff or seeping back into an aquifer is considered theft of water. And I'm like, that's bullshit. It's rain. Now, maybe I guess like in areas that are very drought prone, but that still seems stupid. Rain is rain.
Yeah, there's a lot of places out in the West or Midwest, uh, Colorado being one of them, places that have problems with water, that all that stuff's illegal. California is one of them.
To be fair, Colorado has a lot of stupid laws. Like, I know in Louisiana, now that I've bought this land, I maintain the mineral rights to all the land that is underneath my house or underneath my property. In Colorado, you do not. The
There's
state
a lot of places. There's a lot of places that you've got to really research that stuff. You don't retain your mineral rights if somebody else has held them out of the deed.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate that I actually found the land grant that my property belonged to when it was given to somebody by the government in the 1800s. Which means if I really wanted to push the issue, the government no longer has any say over my property. And I could feasibly get away from paying taxes because I have a land grant on it.
That's pretty dope.
Because taxes are kind of balls.
Taxes are a lot of balls.
I'm fortunate right now that my property is only considered under agricultural tax or forestry tax. So my taxes right now is less than $100 a month till they figure out I'm building stuff out here. Of course, I don't have to go through any permits, or there's no permitting process or anything out here. Only thing I have to do to get a residence put out here is to have a perk test done. And because it's over 3 acres, I can have somebody come out here and put a septic system in that does not have to be inspected.
Nice.
And the state law reads that as long as my effluent does not drain off of my property to affect somebody else's property, there ain't a damn thing they can do about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, property taxes eat people alive.
I've actually had to go over taxes with my students and state, there's nothing wrong with paying your fair share of taxes. Nothing at all. Because it's what provides for a lot of the programs, a lot of the services we have in the country. The problem is the number of people who find a way to get out of taxes, which means then the rest of us end up inheriting more. And explaining to the kids that if you do your income tax right, you're not actually supposed to get a giant bejesus level check unless you actually know how to milk the system. Because if you get a big check back and it's all the money that they took out of just your check, that is money you could have had in your check the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Yep, I have manipulated that now, and it's last year I paid $1 in federal income tax. This year I'm gonna have to pay about $2.40 because I had a couple of raises and I made a little more money. So now I got to figure out if I want to add take a deduction off my W-4 or leave it the way it is and deal with taxes every year.
Because a lot of my students, a lot of my kids did not understand that income tax season is not the government giving you money, but money they've taken out of your check coming back to you.
Yeah, they basically borrow your money on a loan they're drawing interest off of, and then they pay you back what you overpaid with no interest.
Yep.
Speaking of which, you gotta love the American tax system. Every February we start figuring out if I'm going to get money back or go to jail?
Yeah.
And that is the gambit of the American tax system is, will I get money back or will I go to jail? And I've learned that people in other countries thinks that is absolutely bonkers. Because it kind of is.
I mean, it really, really is, if when you think about it, to be fair.
To be fair, the fact we don't put tax into the price on the shelves so that everybody has to remember how to do math at the register is also kind of bull. I feel like this is all the math teachers in the U.S. got together at one point and said, these fuckers are going to use this every day. This is how we're going to get them. And if that's the case, I need a picture of the meme of Mojo Jojo and him from Powerpuff Girls saying that's the most evil thing ever.
Talking about taxes and stuff, that's one of the things. I had a conversation with somebody the other day. They was talking about how these big businesses get out of paying taxes and they got all this money and everything. What they don't understand is these businesses have set up corporations or LLCs or things of that nature because the tax code 10% of it tells you what taxes you have to pay. The other 90% of it, if you read it, tells you how to get out of paying those taxes. It's part of the laws of this country. Now, some bigwig out there that they say got a $1 billion company, he ain't got $1 billion. His company's got $1 billion. It's tied up in assets and it's tied up in expenses and tied up in all kinds of other things. He may be the CEO or he may be the owner of the company, which reflects back on him, but he don't have all that money in his personal account. And I will guarantee you that everything he purchases is expensed against his company.
Yep.
Because that's
Yep.
the way the tax code is designed. There again, you're talking about math in school. People think, I ain't got to use it. The trigonometry and the algebra and all that stuff, very rarely are you going to use it. But if you don't know addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, you're pissing in the wind, because that is what you need to understand tax code and how you can understand debit and loss, expense, all that other stuff. All the stuff in accounting. All you need to know is how to do is add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Because
Yep.
I took accounting in high school for 2 years. I understand that shit. Everything's got a balance at the end of the year.
Unless you are the federal government, which blew my
Yep.
kid's mind. Yeah, bringing that was fun because we did. We're doing foreign affairs right now, which the kids go, Mr. O, what's your opinion on this? My opinion is a lot of what George Washington said, which is neutrality and not my business. But we ain't doing that since Wilson, so that's that. But
Hey,
when it,
about,
sorry, go ahead.
go ahead. No,
So
I was gonna ask if anybody has heard the term or knows what the Anatov or Analog group is in the Ukraine.
The Anatog. Oh, isn't that supposed to be like the far right group that's in Ukraine?
The ones that are helping them fight the war that are neo-Nazis? Yeah.
Okay, I had heard something about them,
Yeah.
but
Well,
a lot of that doesn't end up in the news.
yeah. One of their largest fighting forces over there fighting for the Ukraine is a neo-Nazi organization.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of to be expected. When it comes down to it, their country is being they're being invaded, so it's kind of all hands on deck.
I got a feeling it might end up kind of like China during World War II. The nationalists and the communists were both fighting the Japanese, and the second you remove them, they go to fighting each other. But
possibly, but there's a lot of. I'm not for or against it either way, because like you just said, it's not my business. It's not our business. It's not our fight. We need to stay the hell out of it. As far as we, as the United States, we need to stay the hell out of it. But I see a lot of people supporting, and they don't know the background behind the people who are fighting. Because I understand all hands on deck. I understand they're being invaded. But some things don't sit well with me.
And like I said, your neighbor's a fuckhead, and somebody comes invading your block, you and the fuckhead are going to fight side by side.
Oh, with that, talking about foreign affairs, the kids have asked me, why does the U.S. not get more directly involved? And I said, one, it's not our fight. Two, not signed up with NATO. And 3, we are not going to make this better.
Oh, no.
If we get involved, just even the thought process, not even us giving anything, not even us giving anything. If we just openly supported and pledged some form of possible military aid, that is enough to send the other side of this situation into a bit of a tizzy because we are too big. I said the problem with America getting involved in some of the problems that we get involved in, other than one, a lot of it's not our damn problem, is America is too big, and the reaction to that is going to be something we don't want to deal with. Because I don't know in several situations if we're ready to deal with it. Does that make sense? Like, we're too big of a player to get involved into a lot of things because simply us getting involved will make the other side do something worse because, oh crap, they're getting involved. So,
Yeah.
I told them more or less if America was to come in and say, Ukraine, we're 100% behind you, something bad immediately is going to happen. It is totally the other side's fault. It'll be totally their fault. But we will have to deal with that. And the problem is a lot of people trying to figure out, are we ready to deal with that? And the answer for a lot of those is no. However, I also have spent the better part of 3 weeks telling kids, no, World War III is not starting. We'll know when World War III starts. It's not going to be a quiet thing. We're going to know. So stop worrying about it because when it does, we'll know. And then we just have to deal with it. And kids stare at me going, how are you calm saying that? I was like, because I'll be honest, if it starts, it started. There's no reason to freak out because it's not going to do any good. We just have to deal with it at that point. But as far as I'm concerned, that's not happening right now anyway. So, but back to the fiscal policy, having to talk to kids about taxes and money and corporations and why certain companies are structured the way they're structured, and that once you get to a certain size, how you can literally get out of taxes. They're looking at me going, so did rich people set this up for rich people? And I had to stare at kids and not tell them my actual political opinion on that because I'm not supposed to in my government class. But the whole time I'm like, yes, they did. They 100% did. They're going to continue to do it because they can. So, but a lot of them were just completely gobsmacked by the amount of money we can generate and do spend, and the fact the federal government does not have to balance its budget. And since my life began, we really haven't. So we're going to with an individual that is almost 40 now, and in that entire time period, we've balanced the budget 3 times. And that is the annual budget, not the actual debt to income ratio for the entire country. And they are just like, but I can't operate with zero money. I was like, yeah, I know. You can't operate with zero money. I can't operate with zero money. The federal government can, because if the federal government stops working, we have a lot bigger problem. So you and I have to work on a fixed income to fixed expenses. The government has fixed expenses and a income. So, yeah.
Good times.
Let's try to switch
So-
this over to a positive note. What's something good everybody's watched on Netflix, YouTube, or something recently?
Moon Knight.
Sailor Moon Knight.
Really,
Sailor Moon Knight.
Sailor Moon Knight. Moon Knight is really good. I am enjoying the how they have taken a character that the comics has kind of. I mean, to be fair, the comics have kind of taken Moon Knight and run him through the ringer quite a bit. Just simply because he's essentially a D-list hero. So there wasn't a whole lot of people paying attention, and people could just kind of do what they wanted, as long as they kept it relatively clear, relatively on track, kind of on track, like lightly on track at least. And I think the series has done a really good job of taking that massive amount of conflicting and twisted, and it's this, but also this, but neither of those, because it's this storytelling that's happened to Mark Spector in the comics, and actually making it relatively cohesive so far. Now, I say that we're on episode 2, so
That is on the list for us to watch here.
and I have also finished. I also managed to finish. I managed to finish Rebels because I had not actually finished Rebels. I was like 5 episodes back on them, like 5 episodes down. I only had like 5 episodes left to watch, so I went ahead and did that. I finished watching that, and uh, yeah, that is a thing. What happened there is a thing, and I can't. It is making me. I cannot. I was super looking forward to Ahsoka uh, already, and watching the last 5 episodes of Ahsoka makes me of Rebels makes me look forward to Ahsoka even more.
See, I have been watching. I just finished Making It with Making Fun with Jimmy DiResta on Netflix. I highly recommend it because it's a goofy building show that is designed for the whole family to watch, with kids coming up with ideas and then they have to build them, as goofy and silly as they are. But it's not like old school building shows like Monster Garage where something went wrong and we're gonna like blow it up for like half the episode, that we got to figure out what to do with this muffler pipe. What will Jesse figure out? Kind of thing. No, it's, hey, this didn't work. What do we do? Bring me the oscillating tool, or get me a mallet. Like the reactions, even though it's scripted in stage in a lot of places, like this isn't fitting together. Get me a mallet. I'm like, I imagine that is most of us if we were working on a project together.
Yeah.
Other than someone would probably be like, why the hell did you make it 1/8 of an inch too big? And then we just shave it down.
So, hammer.
Pretty much, I just like it. It's fun and it's goofy and it's them building, and they actually throw a little bit of like, this is how this works. Like they built a boat that looked like a guitar. They're like, this thing won't float. And the other guy's like, dude, this thing can carry 5,000 pounds. And then did the math to show them exactly with the size of boat that they are building, the water displacement would allow them to do exactly that. It would hold 5,000 pounds. So I was like, that's neat. I don't want to know that math, but I'm glad you do. And the other thing I have, I just finished, or I haven't just finished, I've been watching a lot of it, is Solo Travels Japan. It is my weird ASMR thing. They take ferry trips and train trips across Japan, and it's just fun watching them. But also the fact everything in Japan is so damn clean. Like the bathroom in the gas station outside of the ferry depot is immaculate, and I'm like, I wish we had that here, because everybody knows what the bathroom at a bus station looks like.
Yeah.
Cannon, are you trying to say something?
No, I'm currently walking my dog.
Okay, I guess that's wind we're catching every so often because there's a little buzz.
Yeah, probably. Or well, my dog was just scratching the ground after he finished his business.
But that's really been the thing. I've been watching that and going back and watching old DM's craft with DM Scotty, who, like, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm gonna like do proxons and use this expensive specialty foam, and I'm like, that is awesome, and you're doing amazing things, DM Scotty. This is what I do with water, glue, a paper towel, and pencil shavings, and all of a sudden it's a tree.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh.
I fell into a hole about 3 weeks ago of watching. I mean, for those that don't know, like the models that I'm currently putting together are Warhammer models. They're Warhammer Age of Sigmar models. Warhammer Age of Sigmar, Warhammer 40K, 40,000 are published by a company called Games Workshop. It is based out of England. England and Europe in general has a huge wargaming communities, and not just fantasy wargaming, like historical wargaming. Like we're gonna go to we're gonna take take a side in the Battle of Normandy. We know exactly how many units of what and how many guys and how many specialties and how many tanks and how many guns that were on the beach of Normandy. We're going to split those up between 4 guys, 2 guys on each side, and then we're going to refight the Battle of Normandy to see just to see what would have happened. And there's some guys there that are doing some super detailed tables, wargaming tables. And oh my God, these things are extraordinarily detailed, and like he's making his own trees, and he's got the static grass deal, and that is just, it is amazing to watch some of those things come into play, because it's essentially all of the tips and tricks that we found for mini painting, just on a very large scale.
It's really cool watching someone build those large dioramas or battle maps like that. There's a group out of Australia that does it for Warhammer, and they actually were able to pull off making a dip in the board and filling it partly with epoxy afterwards, to where it looked like so many tanks had moved through that area that it was just a massive mud pit.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, okay, and what do we have rules for this? And someone dropped down a whole page of, this is what happens when you go in the mud pit.
Yeah.
It's like, and they're like, we haven't even decided what game we're playing yet. This works for 90% of them.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the wargaming culture in Europe and Australia is it's amazing. Like in London, there are literally standalone stores for used models and bits. You can literally walk in. You can literally walk in to this store and walk out with 5 heads, 4 bolt rifles, 6 swords, and half a tank. The reseller market over there is insane, and it's fantastic.
Oh, one other thing I'll recommend to watch, if y'all don't watch, do y'all watch Bourbon Moth on YouTube?
No.
Nope.
Okay. One, he absolutely hates wood resin waterfall tables or river tables.
Oh God, that's so overdone. Like,
okay,
it's so overdone on just watching
Yeah.
watching the videos.
Well, the thing is that Karens love them. Okay, so let's acknowledge that it's kind of like when some people were getting mad about steampunk, and I was like, I'm never going to get mad about this because it just means it's getting popular. I'm going to get more shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, the fact that there's people that are doing this, I'm going to watch some of these videos to learn new techniques. Bourbon Moth hates river tables. He thinks they're tacky. He thinks they're ugly. And he thinks that they are piss poor woodworking. He is not 100% wrong on any front there. Even though I have used resin to seal wood more than once because I knew what somebody was going to use it for. And also to make sure that larvae that were not supposed to be in there and I couldn't get out were actually sealed in. Any case, he makes one for his like millionth view or something like that, and then blows it up. Go watch it. It is amazing because he makes this absolutely wonderful, probably $5,000 to $7,000 table, and then blows it up with $400 worth of explosives.
That is a man after my heart.
You need to watch it. It is great. I need to catch up on some of his videos. See, Cannon, have you watched anything or been following a series recently?
Not really. After time change, I've been spending most of my time outside working in the yard, and I don't get a lot of TV watching in during those time frames.
I mostly got time in because of the flu and spring break.
Still watching the YouTube series Acorn to Arabella, which is about a guy up in the northern states that's building a 38-foot long sailing vessel on his property that he's planning on just about at the end of it. They're planning on doing a launch in 2023.
Nice.
That's been keeping up with that, and then I watch two other homesteading shows. One's called Wild Wonderful Off Grid. Another one's called Lumna Acres Modern Homesteading. And then there's another one I catch on occasion called 9 to 5 to Life. It's about a family in Michigan they moved from the city and moved off grid, and all their escapades, a man, his wife, and 4 daughters. But that's about it.
Let's see. We've gone over an hour. See, Cannon, are we going to do Holy Winds or Lost Seas tomorrow? If your internet's still acting up.
I'm hoping they have it fixed tomorrow after they come back to work, but I won't know for sure until I get home about 5:30 or 6 o'clock tomorrow evening.
All right, just let me know, because if you have internet, we'll do Holy Winds. If not, we'll do Lost Seas.
All right.
I know that we got the second game of Simple Man this Thursday because Tears of Kairos is still on break. Knox and Moose need to get back to me so we can finish up the second date of Sucker for Love.
We may be able to do that this week. I don't know.
Just keep me posted because I think I have an idea of how to get a different end.
Cool.
And it's what Moose said to do, which makes me feel bad for shitting on it. But then again, it's Moose. So I probably should still feel bad.
What was his idea?
Something with when we make the meal. Bring Lynetta in when we're making the meal.
Yeah, there's gonna be things that's essentially what we're gonna have to do is figure out when to bring Lynetta in to screw up everything else. I think we've only got like one secret left to
we have 4.
find.
We have one secret left to find and 4 endings to find. By the way, Cannon, we're talking about the Call of Cthulhu dating sim that we're just laughing our asses off with.
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of redonk.
Also, you can't type the word sucker in on Twitch. So there's that. So that's what we got going on. Tears of Kairos will be back in 2 weeks. Chris supposedly will have Into the Woods on the last Sunday of the month. We'll see. And we got the charity stream coming up, and I have to double check that date. Claire has not gotten back to me on much, but I'm pretty sure she's been swamped. So
Well, well, I know why. I'll let you know once we're off.
okay. So since Knox, you're here, you want to give us a sign off?
We appreciate y'all coming hanging out with us this evening. We hope we're at least a little bit of entertaining, a little bit of crazy, a little bit of something. Join us for the next time we get together. And in the meantime, don't let your meatloaf.